in the studio. Welcome to the Mike Files. We had a little bit of audio crackle earlier, so we kind of cut it off. But we're going to come back in. We're going to do a little musical intro here for all you who are still up tonight. There we go. This is Brandon Hart with his new song.
Buildings, or even stop a speeding car. We don't fight super villains, or fly off into the stars. We don't know our capes, have sidekicks, or even a best friend. But we know where it starts though, and that's usually where you end. And we could be bigger than Batman if we wanted to, bigger than the bombs we're going through. For every little lie you believe that's true. No, there's a superhero inside of you, bigger than Batman if we wanted to, bigger than the bombs we're going through. For every little lie you believe that's true. No, there's a superhero inside of you. We ain't all perfect, yeah, we don't usually kiss the girl. We don't have superpowers, change your phone booths or save the world. We don't know our capes, have sidekicks, or even a best friend. But we know where it starts though, and that's usually where you end. And we could be bigger than Batman if we wanted to, bigger than the bombs we're going through. For every little lie you believe that's true. No, there's a superhero inside of you, bigger than Batman if we wanted to, bigger than the bombs we're going through. For every little lie you believe that's true. No, there's a superhero inside of you. You call for a hero, think no one can hear you, and no one can help you take it on. We all need a hero when it's dark and it's fearful, a hero beside you walking strong. When you call out for a hero and your life is at zero, just know that that hero's inside you. And we could be bigger than Batman if we wanted to, bigger than the bombs we're going through. For every little lie you believe that's true. No, there's a superhero inside of you, bigger than Batman if we wanted to, bigger than the bombs we're going through. For every little lie you believe that's true. No, there's a superhero inside of you.
All right. Just thought I'd give that dude a little bit of a play. That's Brandon Hart with one of his new jams out. I like that guy a lot. He's cool.
It's a great song.
Yeah, he's kind of a cool cat. He's like one of those like gentle giant type of guys. He's part of the Tom McDonald Nova Rockefeller trio, and they're doing it like they do their own production.
Okay.
And so they're not under a record label per se. They do most of their own video production, and I don't know. They're pretty unique in that sense. They just don't really give a shit about what anybody has to think about them, and they just do their thing, and it's kind of cool. It's like it's refreshing, and they're creative and they're good. I mean, it's like, I don't know. They're all from Canada.
Okay.
That's what's crazy. They're all from Canada. Anyway, I don't know. I thought I'd give him a little airplay because I like the dude. I've emailed with him a couple times. I'm trying to get him to come out here.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, he's very talented. Very talented, And I don't know. I've enjoyed a lot of his music. Anyway, we're picking back up. We had some microphone something or other going on. I don't know. We had a little crackle, snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispies. Yeah. But we're back. So here we are again with Ricardo. For those of you who missed earlier, Ricardo's a friend of the show, a friend of mine. Got an amazing story to tell. I'm trying to think of where we need to pick up with this again.
Sounds good.
I don't even, we should have just kept going, but I don't know with the crickle crackle. Where were we at?
Probably Maryland. I mean,
yeah, we were talking Maryland, DC, yeah, and just talking about your road to recovery. And I guess, Ricardo went through a
brain injury.
Brain injury where he had an 8% chance to live, and that's a pretty amazing thing to come through that. I mean, that's pretty. I mean, you know. I mean, like you were saying, when you take it the other side, you say 92% chance of dying.
Yeah.
I mean, who makes that decision in life when you look at something that you're going to do and you go, well, I got a 92% chance of dying, but I'm going to fucking do it anyways.
Yeah, no.
You don't, I mean, you're like, no, I'm taking the safe route.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we talked a little bit about that, and, you know, and he, of course, he had, a family and was living the American dream, and then all of a sudden, boom, just gets hit with, guess what? You got an 8% chance to live.
Yeah.
I mean, the thought of I don't wish that on anybody. I guess we all might reach that point where, I mean, we're all going to go anyways, you know. And, you know, excuse me. I guess that's something that I've thought a lot about recently is the whole life and death thing and the duality of life and how, you know, you can't have joy without having pain, and, you know, there's no happiness without sorrow. There's no, I mean, you always have to have the other side of things, and, you know, and so we were talking about, the idea that him going through this actually could have been, obviously a blessing because you made it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can't look at it any other way than that. You got to reset. Better than the Great Reset.
Yeah, but let me say that going through this experience, it really gave me a new identity of the whole life and death crisis. Because, I mean, now I look at every day as a gift. It's like, why am I here? And
I go through that every day too. I think, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I here? Why are any of us going through this? And it's a kind of a existential, I wouldn't say crisis, but definitely a question.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't like to express this to my wife or to anyone else, but it's like you wake up every day and then, you know, like, why am I here? And I'm going to try to make a difference with whatever hours I have left.
Right.
Because you never know when they're going to be taken away.
Exactly. You never know when it ends. And like that's what I was saying earlier too. It's like there's no past, there's no future, there's only the present. And what we have right now, I mean, we're not defined by our past. And, you know, I'd like people to understand that. It's like, it doesn't matter what you've gone through in life, what mistakes you've made, you know, whatever it is that you're using to define yourself, you don't have to define yourself that way, because right now it defines you.
Yeah.
And you can change that at any time you want, you know, and then that, you know, that dictates, you know, your future. And if you're doing what you want to do, I mean, life is just crazy. I don't know what we're doing here. I mean, look, you got to look at humanity. I mean, I was talking to a friend the other night about this, about we're the only species that drinks the milk of another species. Yeah. That's weird. You know, isn't it? Yeah. It's kind of bizarre. Yeah. And then we keep that species out in the field and we like milk them every day and we drink that, and it's like, can you imagine if they did that with mothers? No, you know what I mean? I mean, you know, I mean, it's the same type of idea. Yeah. I don't drink milk, but you know,
I don't drink milk either. So
no, I figure it's good for kids, I guess. Yeah. That's all they say. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Drink some milk. I mean, it's kind of gross. When you think about it, it's like we're taking this other species and we're just, you know, I mean, I used to I used to pour concrete on these dairies out in Idaho back in the day, and we do these huge pours for like these feed pads, and you just watch these, you know, you're sitting here thinking, what are we doing? Like they bring them in, and then they hooked up the machines to them, you know, and then we put it in a bottle and drink it. What the fuck is going on with that? I mean, it makes me wonder if we're actually the aliens, you know?
I don't know. That's a good question, because
Yeah, I mean, because you look at it, we're the only species that is uncomfortable on this planet. We're the only species that wears clothes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, 5 degrees one way or another, and we're uncomfortable and complaining and bitching. I mean, how many times a day do you hear somebody bitching about the weather?
Every day.
It's too cold.
It doesn't
it's too
matter
hot.
which season it is.
Yeah, it's either too hot, too cold. We're always uncomfortable, and we wear clothes. But there's no other species that does, except maybe dachshunds or little schnauzers or whatever.
I don't even think so.
Well, they put clothes, like the old ladies put clothes on them. They'll like knit the sweaters for the little dog, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not the dog's choice.
Yeah.
And you look at animals out here in Wyoming in the middle of the winter, and they're fine. They're just out there, you know. I mean, they don't care.
Yeah.
It could be 20 below, and they're out. And here it's cold. We're in a truck with a heater. We've got all these devices and things, and it makes you wonder, like, what are we doing here? Because we don't belong here.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, like, are we the aliens? I mean,
no, it's a good point.
I mean, look how quick this world would transform. I don't know if you ever watched any of those shows where they show like what happens if like human, because we could very potentially blow all ourselves up with our little egos and world governments, and you know, I don't like you, you don't like me. Fucking boom, here we go, and then everybody's gone.
And that's not the solution.
No, but look how quick plant life, animals would overtake the cities. I mean, it would. The earth would crumble our cities in a very short amount of time. Yeah. And so it kind of makes me question the whole global warming thing, because it's like the earth is going to do what it's going to do, right? Like regardless of us. I mean, the earth could make the decision that we're done and Yellowstone blows up. And at that point, I'm happy we're right here. Yeah. Because then it's over.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
it's like,
you know, to live with the fallout of it, you know, and it could very well happen. I mean, I was in an earthquake in 2001 in Seattle, and I'd never been in an earthquake. I'd been I'd been in a tornado. I'd been in a hurricane, a number of different things, forest fires. And I'm sitting there working one day, and all of a sudden I look out the window, and it sounds like there's like a big piece of equipment coming on the job site, and I don't see one. And I look at the park in the distance, and the thing is doing this. It's and the water in the pond out there is like splashing out. And I look down at our work van, and it's sitting there going up and down. And I'm like, what the fuck? I remember I set down my paint pot, and I jumped literally from landing to landing and ran out front. And all the guys, I mean, this was a big, it was a big housing project in Seattle that we were working on. And I mean, guys are running out of each door that we're working in and we're looking at each other like, I mean, and the earth is literally, I mean, it's doing this, and we're just like, whoa. Yeah. And I mean, I remember it stopped finally, it kind of rumbled down. I remember just sitting down cross-legged, and I used to smoke cigarettes back then, so I sat down and I, lit up a cigarette and sat there, and I mean, everybody was doing the same thing. We're just looking at each other. I mean, cell phone service is down. Yeah. Everything's down, no electric, no nothing. And it's just like, what in the... It was like, you felt like... I mean, I remember my thoughts was, I just felt like such a tiny ant, and it gave me kind of a perspective on, like, how big I thought I was and how big I actually am. Because it's not that big. I mean... that
growing up in Mexico City, I went probably for like 8 or 9 of those. So it's
like, Mexico City has a lot.
Oh my gosh, it's like crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of earthquakes down there.
So I think that kids there are more used to earthquakes than they are here. So
well, and people in Southern California are too. You know, and I mean, all of California. I mean, you got the San Andreas Fault Line and everything, but I'd never been in one, and it was, and this one, it was a big one. Yeah. And the crazy thing about it, they said it was it came from way down in the Earth's crust. It wasn't like they say that the ones that initiate higher up, they shake more. This one was a roll. It was like, I'd never seen the Earth do that. Like I went out and I'm looking at my, the work van, and like the tires are going up over my head, and then like the ladder rack is going down below my feet. Yeah. And I'm just like, and then there was this old bastard working for us, and he's up in the window in the building still. And I'm screaming at him like, Joe, get down, get down. And he's up there and he's smoking a cigarette out the window, and he's yelling, is that all you got, you bastard? Bring it up. He's an old dude, big beard. I mean, he was, I don't even know, he's probably 65, 70 maybe. Yeah. He didn't care. It was funny as hell watching him it was like he's screaming. It was like he's screaming at God, like, take me out. Bring it.
But growing up in Mexico City, it's like what I grew up being used to. So
right, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, and I would imagine down there that any kind of a shake is probably very devastating.
Yeah, but
because you have a lot of, you don't have structural, you don't have the structure in like the homes and things. I mean, you have a lot of people that are living in poverty and, living in, homes and stuff that are not well built. And like Seattle was pretty much built up to withstand, like, they thought about a lot of this stuff and they built it accordingly. But I mean, you got to think about somebody that's living in abject poverty.
Yeah.
And they're living in a house that they made from God knows what pallets or whatever the hell they could find
here's the crazy thing. Like a couple months ago, there was an earthquake and like 14 people died and people just kept living. Like it's like,
and no one hears the thing about it. Like we don't hear a thing about it in the United States. I mean, 14 people die here and it's like, it's all, I mean, it's all over the news and everything else. And I mean, that's crazy. What a wild world.
Yes,
we got cities now that like Portland. They're like police have just quit.
Yeah,
which I don't blame them. I would have as well.
Yeah,
I mean, why? Well, they say they're going to defund you. They don't want you around. I would have left a long time ago. I mean, same with Minneapolis. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's like I'm not. I mean, I have a kind of I guess a weird relationship with law enforcement, to say the least. I respect what they do.
Yes,
you know what I mean, and I am happy that they do what they do. A lot of times I'm not. But it's kind of one of those necessary things. I mean, you have to have somebody there that's going to make that is a force that's going to be able to keep people from doing evil towards others.
Yeah,
right.
Especially living here in Cody, like when you see so many tourists come over by the liquor store, for example, and they're like, "Oh, I just want to get fucked up," and they're like,
"Yeah," and then they take off driving out there with their big ass RV, and
then they get stopped by the police, and it's like, "What the fuck are you thinking?" It's like
just park in the parking lot if you want to get fucked up at Walmart.
Yeah,
I mean, you can stay there. It's the biggest campground in Wyoming.
Yeah,
but Walmart parking lot. I never understood that either. I mean, you drive all the way from fucking Illinois or whatever, and you come all the way out to Wyoming, and you've got all these mountains and all these beautiful things and beautiful campgrounds, and you just park. You park in Walmart, and then you go to the liquor store every day.
Yeah.
And you just sit. I saw these guys today when I drove through there, and they're just sitting there, just yucking it up. Like it's two big old potbelly stallions out there with their big, huge RVs. You can tell what they're talking about. Like, oh, I got this and that, and they got a satellite. They got the 14 air conditioners, and you're going, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're not camping. What do you? I mean, if you're parked at the fucking Walmart next to 18 other glib idiots, bunch of stupid ass Griswolds. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like, what's going on? And
I have to agree, but unfortunately, those are the people I sell liquor to. So it's like,
I mean, they do bring revenue into the place, obviously. But what's unfortunate as well is that they bring revenue to the, to the biggest, one of the biggest corporations in the country, who also happens to have the largest amount of employees on government assistance. These people are making billions off those people in the RVs. And then the employees of the store that get treated like shit all day are still having to go and get government assistance. And then you got the whatever group, I don't know, the Waltons or whatever that own Walmart. They're sitting back and making billions on Hank Hill or whoever is out there in the parking lot, I'll go to Walmart and get me a camping spot. Free. The other one I like is that one that campground out past Burger King.
Okay.
I mean, can you imagine camping there?
No.
All day, all you smell is Burger King.
Yeah.
Like that restaurant is reprehensible. Yeah. It's trash. It's garbage. I had to paint that stupid. I had to paint a bunch of that crap, and I did like the dumpster enclosure and a bunch of shit up on the roof, and it smelled so. I mean, like I would go nasty. Home. I'd come home and like have to wash my clothes immediately because I mean, it was just like, ugh. I mean, so you can't. You drive all the way to Cody, Wyoming, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. Yes. Really, it is beautiful.
I agree.
and then you park next to Burger King, or you park in Walmart.
Oh my god!
You know, I think that one's even worse. Because the wind blows out of the west, and so you're sitting there all day smelling Burger King.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, those Whoppers. What are they made out of? What are those? Know. They say they're flame broiled or whatever.
I don't think so.
I don't even know if it's even meat. God, it's terrible. Last time I was in there, man, I was actually working there, and I was hungry, and I was like, fuck it, I got to have something. So I go in there and have one of their double cheeseburgers, and I mean, I was like instant diarrhea. Like 20 minutes later, it's diarrhea. You know, I mean, just felt sick. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's like, you know, I've never been in since, and that was like 7 years ago.
Yeah,
and even driving by it and smelling it.
Yeah,
I mean, any of the fast food restaurants, it's like McDonald's.
I stopped eating at McDonald's like a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I don't really do fast food at all.
Burger King, I think I have tried twice. And
it's
like
removed from wrapper, place in toilet.
No, it's like fuck that.
It's amazing the shit that we eat in this country. It's crazy. You look at people's diet. You know, you wonder why everybody's obese. It's like you're eating trash.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, and then drinking milk.
Yeah.
I don't know. I went vegetarian for a couple of years way back in the day because I remember I was sitting there and I was living in Eugene, Oregon, and I'm in the grocery store and I was going to make my classic signature spaghetti that night.
Yeah.
And so I'm in there and I'm buying ground beef and everything and I'm getting vegetables and I'm sitting there looking at the ground beef and I'm like, it's a pink packet, you know? And I'm like, I started thinking to myself, and it wasn't the fact that I don't believe in eating meat, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, I am so alienated from my food source.
Yeah.
Like, I had nothing to do with the slaughter of this animal. I had nothing to do with the grind, any of it. But yet I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to get this pink pack of whatever the hell it is. I don't even know. And then go eat it. And I declined. I made vegetarian spaghetti that night. And then I didn't eat meat for like 2 years. And it was just because of that. I mean, I was like, if I'm, you know, and then when I came out here, I mean, there was a number of years where I was buying a calf every year.
Yeah.
And putting it on my father-in-law's property. And then, you know, we'd slaughter them, take them to the process. And so, I mean, that way you have an association with your food source.
Yeah, but it's different because it's actually your calf. And then,
and you have an association with your food source. And that, I think, is important. And I think we've gotten away from that.
Yeah.
I mean, we all just go to look what we got. What do we have in Cody? We've got the Walmart or the Albertsons.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody here is, you know, median to low income and can't even afford Albertsons. So they go out there. I mean, Walmart's such a goofy thing. And you work there.
Yeah.
I mean, and you look at that every day. I mean, you've got to just be like, what in that?
But thankfully,
you've got to see some crazy shit out there too.
Thankfully, I don't work in the main Walmart. I work in the liquor store.
Right, so so you get to see the best of the best. Yeah. The ladies in there asking if you got any more Potter's vodka.
Oh my gosh.
Looking for the singles. Where are they?
Yeah, that time with the Potter's vodka, it was like, oh my god.
Oh, how crazy is that, man? I mean,
yeah, it was a lady who was drunk and came into a store and she was looking for Potter's vodka and I was like, we don't have any. And she's like, oh, I'm sure I can find some. And I was like, be my guest.
Why don't you go get some rubbing alcohol?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And after 10 minutes, she came back and she's like, don't you have any more Potter's vodka? And I was like, no, ma'am, we're all out.
It's got to be kind of, you should actually have like, I don't know, they probably wouldn't allow it, but it would be funny as hell if you had like a little hidden camera in there, you know, because I mean, I bet you've seen some goons. I mean,
yes,
big time goons.
Yeah, especially ones who try the cheap stuff and then they always stick to the cheap stuff. And then when you run out, they're like, I want some of that. And you're like, we're all out. And they don't really seem to understand that.
Well, people aren't going to understand either. I mean, you know, I think we are on, you know, it may not happen this month, next month, or the month after, but we are on the verge of some major shortages. I mean, you got to look at, you know, fuel prices, lumber prices, for one. That's affected me in a big way.
Yeah.
I mean, the price for a sheet of plywood is ridiculous, and that's a lot of what I do. And then you see that they have up on, you know, the northern border, like most of our lumber comes from Canada. and they've got rail yards, like stacked 40 feet high with bunks of lumber for a half a mile. It's just sitting there. So, I mean, they're going to short us out. We're going to look at hyperinflation.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just manufacture fiat currency.
No.
And that's why I think Bitcoin and all these different cryptocurrencies have taken off, and especially with the younger people, because they're, you know, you can say what you want about millennials, or I don't even know what this generation, what is this generation called? I mean, because we're past the millennials now, right?
It's like,
what are they?
I have no idea.
Fucked. Generation fucked. Welcome to Generation Fucked.
Yes.
Yeah, have a good time.
For sure.
It's going to be great for you. You know, you scavenging for nuts and berries, you know. Go back to living in caves and who knows.
Yeah.
Anyway, what a wild world. And then we want to argue all these politics and stuff and elect these weirdos to run us. It's crazy. I mean, when you stop and you think that Nancy Pelosi is the third most powerful person on the world. What? Look at that woman.
Yeah.
If you saw her on the street and you didn't know who she was, you would think that is some crazy ass cat woman. You know, like the old lady that's got bags of cats that she's walking down. You know, and this is the third most powerful person on the planet.
Yeah, it's like
this is the person dictating policy. And then you look at our president. I mean, you thought Trump was a nutcase. This guy, I mean, this dude, he doesn't even know where he's at. I mean, he's just like, I think there's somebody just pulling his strings, you know. He goes walking and he's all, I mean, you know.
No, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I think that Kamala Harris will probably succeed him and then take over,
But, and that's kind of funny why they picked her, though, because she really, I don't think she won any delegates in the election, and they pick her as the VP. And she was kind of like the Democratic Party's, like, I think that's who they were trying to push. And then they had that Pete Buttigieg guy.
Yeah.
You see him when he won the Iowa caucus?
I did not see that.
Oh my God, I should play that footage. When he walked out of there, he was like, it was robotic and weird, and the press is trying to ask him questions, and he's just got this maniacal smile on his face, and he just walks right past. And it's like, what is that guy?
Yeah,
the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. It's just like, it's absolutely insane. The whole political system in this country is just a fucking mess. It's such a zoo. I mean, the idea that we have to elect these people to rule our lives,
but hey,
set policy. It's like, why do we even do it?
At least it's better than Mexico's, because in Mexico it's like only like 3 parties, and then all the smaller parties.
Well, we only have 2 here.
Yeah, but all the smaller parties join one of the bigger parties, and then it's like
right. Well, Mexico's been a place of political unrest from the get-go. We talked about that last time too. That was, we went back to Porfirio Diaz, and I mean, Mexico's had Jesus, politics down there. I mean, then you get into the Pancho Villa and Emiliano Zapata, and I mean, all unrest. But I think a lot of that unrest was brought on by the existence of the United States too. Yeah. And I mean, it started with Columbus. I mean, the fact that we have Columbus Day is just absolutely stupid. I mean, okay, hey, everybody, you get to the banks are closed. You don't have to go to school because of this rapist. I mean, really?
Yeah.
The guy is drunk out there on the water, floating around. Funded by the Queen.
Yeah.
And he comes over, and I'm just a scourge of a whole country, a whole nation, basically. I mean, how ridiculous! It's so funny. Life is weird.
I agree. It's like, what the fuck?
I know, and people don't think about anything. They don't use their minds. They don't look at history. They don't look at the history that our kids are being taught is just absolutely ridiculous, and most of it's twisted and fucked up and screwy. Jeez. And then
but there's only so much we can do about it. So it's like immediately after they get home, it's like, talk to me about history and talk to me about that.
And I know I had to do that with my son a lot. He'd come home to write a paper about something, and I'd say, okay, sit down.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about what really went on there.
Yeah.
Well, my teacher said, the teacher doesn't know. Sorry. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's not the teacher's fault. They're inundated with this crap through the universities and everything. And I mean, look at what the whole big argument that I've been hearing recently is the whole thing about mothers are not called mothers anymore. They're called birthing people.
No.
Men don't give birth.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Except to a big shit, you know, after eating Burger King.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can't say, birthing people?
No.
And this woke culture is so, it's like that. It's so ridiculous.
Yes.
These people are so out of their minds. It's just crazy. And I'm not a conservative or a Democrat. I'm not on either side. I think they're all stupid. You know, I don't care if they're Republican, Democrat, whatever. They're all dumb.
Let me say, I stand exactly with you because it's like,
That's why we get along.
It's like, just
Yeah.
sort your fucking mess because it's like.
Well, and if I wasn't an ex-federal felon that couldn't vote ever again, I wouldn't vote anyways.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, like George Carlin said, he goes, I don't vote on election day.
Yeah.
He goes, so I have a right to complain.
Yeah.
You guys voted for this shit, so you don't have a right to complain, you know? I mean, you know, when it comes down to a choice between
And you know, it's funny because
Trump or Biden,
Yeah.
I mean, a shit sandwich or a turd, what are you going to have?
Yeah.
So dumb.
No, but it's funny because I got the right to vote since February and I still haven't exercised my citizenship to go claim an ID card to vote. So it's like...
Especially in this state, it doesn't matter. Your vote does not matter in this state.
It goes Republican no matter what.
Yeah, there's so many states that are like, I mean, you know, it's theater.
Yeah.
It's giving people the illusion
Yes.
that them going to the polling place or whatever, however they vote. This last one, I guess, was all the mail-ins and all that. I don't even want to get into that fiasco, but it's like the TSA at the airports. It's security theater. The TSA is security theater. The whole idea of voting, it's just theater. You know, it doesn't matter, and it does. The president doesn't even matter. You know, everybody gets wound up about it, but the fact of the matter is that they're just a puppet.
Yeah, no.
They're in there for 4 years, and, you know, I mean, they're getting their strings pulled. And, I mean, it's kind of funny that whether you got Bush, Obama, Trump, whatever, you still got the Steve Mnuchins and the same Wall Street bankers are in there. Yeah. Wall Street just keeps on kicking and, you know, stealing from everybody. And these, you know, the fat cats get fatter and the rest of us are just dumb. And we just sit there and go, okay. I mean, if everybody
let me say that I used to work for Wall Street. So it's like,
well, you know, the game.
Exactly about
you know
that,
the game.
So yeah.
Well, and we just went through the largest uptick of wealth ever with these stupid stimulus plans. And I mean, look what came down to the American people. I mean, you're talking trillions and trillions of dollars, you know. I mean, you do the math, and I've sat down with people and I've done this. Like, okay, write $6 trillion on a piece of paper. How many people live in the country? So, right, 330 million.
Yeah.
Divide that by 2 because half of those are kids that aren't going to get a stimulus check. I said, do the math. How much does that come out to? How much did everybody have got? No, we're paying for Pakistani gender studies.
Yes.
The Egyptian military, Israeli ICBM programs. Any number of just horse shit, you know what? And it's not even real money. That's what's crazy is that our kids are going into debt. I mean, like your kids, right?
Yes.
Your unborn son who will be joining. She'd be joining this world directly. Look how much she's already in debt. She didn't do anything.
Nope.
Same with my kid. He didn't do anything. We're $30 trillion in debt,
Yes.
and every year we go more and more and more. And for what? And then we want to blame it on people from Mexico. They took our gerbs.
No way.
It's like, come on. It's like we took their country. I mean,
yes.
You know, I mean, the whole thing is, and the whole idea of land ownership and all this and that is just kind of ridiculous. I mean, I was talking about this with somebody the other night. You think about it. We're here for what? As a man, if you're lucky, you live to be 80, right?
Yes.
So you're here for that long, not even that long in the whole concept of things. And you think, like, I think that this is my land, this is mine.
No.
Like it's not. It's
it will
the
stop
Earth's.
being yours the
Earth's.
moment you pass away. So.
Right. And same with all the wealth and everything that we try and accrue, and we live these lives where we just think that that's what it's all about, is accruing these things, wearing the right watch and looking the right way. It's like you're not living.
Yes.
You're chasing wealth, and it's so dumb. It really is. It's asinine. It's retarded.
And let me say that from my side, I can see it from both sides, because I used to be the one who was accruing wealth before.
Right. And concerned with it on a daily basis. Yeah.
And after the brain injury, it's like, what really matters?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it too. It's like, on your dying day, the only thing you're going to have is those you love and those that loved you.
And that's it.
Yep. And the memories of that. I mean, when you go out, that's what you're going to have. You're going to have the memories of that. And I've sat there and watched people die and, held their hand, know?
And that's it. I mean, sadly, that's it.
Yeah. When my grandmother passed away, not too distant past, I don't know what my mom said to her, and I missed it. She called me and said she's slipping. I tried to get down to the home, and I pulled in, and my mom called me and said she's gone. And she goes, "You want to come in and see her?" I said, "No, I don't want to see her." I said, "I'm going to remember how she was." So she comes out to talk to me, and I said, "Well," and she goes, "I'm not going to tell you what I said to her." She goes, "But when she was slipping away, I whispered something in her ear," and she goes, "I don't know what happened." She goes, "But she looked up in the corner of the room, and she smiled, a tear ran down her face, and she was gone." I said, "So what do you think she saw?" I don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
Nobody knows. It's the great unknown. And I mean, that's, I think, where like religion comes from, is that this fear of death.
Yeah.
When it's inevitable for all of us. So we created these concepts of heaven and hell, and
it's all bullshit. I mean, just from a personal perspective, it's all bullshit.
And then we drink milk. And judge each other and wear different hats and fight with each other. It's like there's enough on this planet for everybody.
Yes.
And these people want to talk about this concept of God and all this. And I mean, it's like, okay, why would an all-knowing, all-loving God have, how many millions of children are starving in third world countries?
It's crazy. It's like, you can't even quantify that.
Right. And I remember like when I was in college, like before every baseball game, I was playing for that Nazarene school. And they would pray. They would pray before the game. Like somebody off the team would pray for us to win. And I'm like, look, and so one day finally I get asked to pray.
Okay.
Bad move, coach. Bad move. Because underneath my hat I had like pagan symbology and all. I mean, I didn't. And so I take my hat off and I start the prayer and basically said, well, if you are an all-knowing, all-loving, benevolent God, then why do you care about us winning this game any more than those guys over there? Yeah. And in the whole, it's like in the whole scheme of things,
it doesn't matter.
There's millions of children out there starving to death, and people dying of cancer and AIDS and this and that and the other thing. And so, who gives a shit about this game?
Yeah.
Amen.
Great.
I was never asked to pray again.
Yeah.
They never asked me again. But it's so funny. It's like any sporting event you watch or whatever, whoever wins, I want to thank God for that.
It's like what? He doesn't care about that.
If there even is a he, or I mean, who knows? We don't know. It's so silly. It's just another way of control and just stupidity. People just buy into it because they're scared of death, and that's what it is.
And
ultimately, that's it.
Before I suffered a brain injury, I think I was Catholic, and then I became Mormon, and then I just stopped believing in everything. And then after the brain injury, it's like I tried attending the Catholic church, and I was like, "This is bullshit."
Oh yeah.
I tried attending the Mormon church, and I told my wife, like, "This is bullshit. I don't believe in any of it."
Yeah, I mean, the Magic Man.
Yeah, no,
the Magic Man.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
So now I'm like an agnostic.
Yeah.
And like just let everyone live their lives, and then
mind your business. You'll live longer.
Yes,
I'm with you on that one. I mean, the idea of like on Sunday you gotta wake up early, put on your special clothes, and take your little rat kids to the.
It just blows my mind.
And then they pass the tray. Here comes the tray.
Yeah, no, but here's
if you don't put your 10% in there, you're gonna go burn. You're gonna burn.
And my wife still takes my sons to church, and then it's like, I just think like, hey, do you know that in like a couple of years I'm gonna talk to them about that, and I'm gonna break that belief, and then it's like.
Well, and I let my son go through it too. I mean, because he liked going when he was younger, and I think the structure of it, I don't have a problem with it. when he was a little kid, I mean, he liked going to Sunday school and stuff, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But as he's grown older now, he's like, you know,
That's
he's
bullshit.
come, yeah.
Yeah.
He's 13 and he's figured out that it's a bunch of BS, you know. And like my mother, she just, you know, but she doesn't push her beliefs on anybody. She, you know, and she knows where I'm at with it all, you know. It's just each person's decision.
Yeah.
And to be judgmental about other people about it. I mean, you look at the wars that have gone on in the Middle East and stuff over,
Yeah.
you know, different, you know,
Beliefs. It's
versions
like-
of, the Shia and the Sunni. I mean, you're a different version of the Islamic religion,
it's
so
like-
you're going to hate that person and fight him.
Yeah, it's
And
like
the idea of fighting wars is stupid too. Can you think about
Yeah.
that? I mean,
No.
think about being like in World War II, right? You're out there in the trenches.
Yeah.
And here you're killing these dudes, right? You don't know them.
no.
They don't know you. But you're out there doing this at the behest of
Your
your government.
government, yeah.
And why are they doing it? For the money.
Yeah.
I mean, World War II was funded by the Rothschilds on each side. They knew that whichever they'd bet on, you know. I mean, and that's what war has come from over humanity's, you know, the recorded history of mankind. It's all about money, and we still have it here. I mean, look at the military-industrial complex in this stupid country. I mean, if we were to take that money that we've spent on bombing brown people and put that into, you know, our own
Helping
country,
them. Yeah.
we wouldn't have the homeless problem. I mean, there should not be anybody homeless
No.
in what's supposedly the richest country in the world. And we have the highest incarceration rate of any civilized country, too. Land of the free, home of the brave, but not if you're black. If you're black,
Or
you're going.
Hispanic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's another one I can get into, too, because where I was at in you know, FCI Terminal Island, they had a Unicor shop. And I don't know if you're familiar with Unicor.
No.
But almost every federal prison has a Unicor shop, and they all produce something. Like the one I was at, they built lockers or anything sheet metal for the government. Okay, so they would bring in a busload of Pisces, right? And so the Pisces come on, and so they would fast track them into Unicor. Like me, when I got there, I put in. They said, "Oh, you got to wait at least a year," you know. And these guys would come in and they'd be on the line like that. 23 cents an hour. After 5 months, you're up for a raise. The most guys were making in there was like $1 an hour.
Yeah.
So, but these guys, they'd come in, they'd be there 5 months, they'd make their 23 cents, slave labor, and then they'd be on the call out on the bus. They'd go to the next place, and then in would come another bus. I mean, and so they're competing with other contractors who there's no way as a contractor that you can get that. You can get that contract when the government's 23 cents an hour, and these dudes were happy because they were like making more at 23 cents an hour than they were making it back home in Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
It was insane, and I'd watch it happen. You know, it's just like, I mean, you think slavery is done?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's alive and well. It's just a different form now, and it's, you know, most American citizens don't even understand.
Yeah.
Like what I just said, that, I mean, there's a lot of people that if they hear that, it's going to be news to them.
Yeah.
Because they've never seen it.
They have to go
They keep
through
it under the ground. Yeah, they keep it underground. They don't talk about it. No one knows about it. But they got it like a joint in Arizona where they make like wiring harnesses for the Humvees. Up in Lompoc, that's the dairy. So all the dairy products that go to prisons, they're all coming from there. I mean, everything is, you know, they got a place that makes the khaki clothes that you got to wear every day in there. You know, I mean, it's all slave labor. But
people are not aware of it because they haven't been in prison. So
right.
it's like, yeah.
And the majority of the cats in there are nonviolent drug offenders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you know, I mean, I met some of the best people I've ever met in there, you know, that I would trust with my life for sure, you know. And I mean, it's just like, I mean, I trust people that have been in prison more than I did people that, I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And here we are with the land of the free, home of the brave, and yet we've got, and here we got a president that was the architect of the 1994 crime bill that incarcerated, I mean, how many thousands and thousands and thousands of black men. I mean, the war on drugs. That was all. It was a war on black men. I mean, you know, I mean, the reason that the whole thing about tipping started, like tipping in a restaurant, was because when slaves were freed, that was a way for restaurant owners, white restaurant owners, to get away with paying black women a tiny wage, and saying that because they make tips, because they make tips, then they don't have to pay them an adequate wage. That's why servers make like $2.35 an hour.
But still, an adequate wage is like what, $6 an hour? Or,
I mean, it's just crazy, and it's all just this money, And what's funny is all these tycoons and these people that spend their life chasing it and trying to hold on to it and live on that money river. When they die, they're going to understand.
Yes,
it's like you didn't live a real life. Like you led a life based on this.
And let me say that used to be my life, and thankfully after the brain injury, it's like you look at life more clearly now. It's
and that's I've always tried to look at it like that. I mean, you have to have the money. You have to have some money. Do you live your life based on that? I mean, I don't think you should. I mean, I've been more free since I've been self-employed than I ever have in my life. I mean, once I stopped being a wage slave. Yeah. I mean, I do what I want when I want.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have to serve somebody? Sure. You're always going to have to serve somebody. I mean, I have to do it every once in a while, but I can pick and choose who it is. Yeah. It's not, and I don't know. It's weird, man. I can't even imagine ever punching a 9 to 5 again, No. I wouldn't do it. I mean, it's just like, no way. But I don't know. Life's crazy. But that's crazy that you got that reset at 31 years old. I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that whole thing.
Why?
It's just crazy. It's wild to think about. Just being 31 years old and all of a sudden, boom, everything's gone. And now
everything. It's like
everything. And now you're basically a 31-year-old infant.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I had to look at pictures that my wife could bring of when I was getting older, and like, oh wait, those are my parents. That's my sister.
And your perception of everything changed though too, right? I mean, like you said, you were career driven and seeking to climb the corporate ladder or whatever. Yep. And then after that, you kind of realize,
it doesn't
what does it matter?
Yeah.
Once you have I think that's happened to I think I've gone through that a number of times. I shouldn't be here. I can go through a list of experiences that I've had where I should have been dead. And after going through that so many times, first of all, I'm not scared of it. Yeah. It doesn't scare me because it's inevitable. We all have it. We all have the same dirt nap coming.
That's also something that happened to me. It's like I'm not scared of death anymore because it's like it's gonna happen.
Once you go through something like that, it's like you realize that it doesn't matter because we all have it coming, and I think that's why organized religion has such a big they've got such a grip on society. Because that whole perception is about where are you going to go when you die.
And let me say that
if you don't give your tithe, you're going to go to hell. You're going to burn. But God loves you. No. You're going to burn. If you don't baptize your baby,
whatever,
the baby's going to burn. I mean, it's like, come on.
Let me say that what I went through cut my life short by 10 years. Yeah, at least. But now it's like.
But you also had a 92% chance of dying.
Yeah.
So
each day that I have to live is like a new day, and it's like a great day. So it's like
it's a gift.
Yeah.
No, I had this buddy that I was locked up with, Polito, and I don't know what his involvement was with the cartel or whatever. He was a young kid, but he had like 28 years to do. And I mean, but he always was smiling.
Yeah.
Always happy, and I pulled him up one day. I said, Polito, I said, why are you so happy, man? I said, you're a young man. I said, you got 28 years to do in this motherfucker. What the hell are you so happy about? He goes, Mike, I'm so happy because I know the day that I get out of here, I'm dead. Yeah. Because of I don't know what involvement he had with cartel or whatever, but he knew that day he left, that was it. And there's a lot of guys like that. And you look at him, geez, that sucks.
At least I'm under protection here, so.
Right. And I got my laundry hustle. I can do, he was happy. He was legitimately happy. I could never understand it because I was miserable and I hated it. I just was like, just wanting to get out. And so it was a really bizarre, I had to ask him one day. I'm like, I kept watching this kid, and he's just happy all day, happy. I was like, he's having fun. And then to find out that's why, because he's happy because he's, he knows that the day he exits, You know, and he might be one of those guys that does something in there to turn himself into a lifer.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to get it. Maybe, I don't know. I know there's guys like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but it's weird. What a bizarre world. And then you've got all the stuff that goes on with the border crisis and all this.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's nuts. And for what? I mean, there's enough out there for all of us.
Yeah.
There's plenty out there for all of us. We can all live a decent life and have food on the table and have a house and
a family.
Yeah. I mean, if everybody would take care of each other. I mean, but I guess it's never going to happen.
All the Jeffrey Epsteins and all the Jeff Bezos of the world. So it's like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, that gets into it. How do you do that? You know, Epstein. That's who knows what was the deal with that guy. I mean. I don't know. That's a weird thing. I mean, there's all these different conspiracy theories. I will tell you this. Where he died at MCC New York, and I've been in those facilities. If you're on suicide watch, the cop isn't falling asleep. They're not just going to not, you know, I will tell you this, he didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
I can with absolute certainty tell you that. How it happened, I don't know. But I've been in those facilities. They're all the same. And I know exactly what goes on in there. And I know what happens with cats on suicide watch. And I mean, I've never been there personally because I never wanted to kill myself. Not in prison anyways. I've tried to with other ways, I suppose. Yeah. You know, but I mean, he had to go. I just think he was a tool of the establishment, and what he was doing was just blackmailing people. And they were, you know. Now, who was behind it all? I don't know. It's a big machine out there, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
And the fact that it keeps moving like that over time is just crazy too.
But let me say that I'm so glad that I live in Cody, Wyoming, which is like so far away from that. It's like
right, and that's
those
cool.
people can kill themselves out there because it's like. It won't affect me.
You got to think about it out here too, where we live. I mean, say the shit hits the fan, and you know, I mean, it kind of has. I mean, the Civil War's kind of started in a lot of places. A lot of cities are in very bad places and turmoil, and you know, all kinds of racial problems and this and that. Out here, though, in this town, at least you know, like people will help other people here. Yeah, you know. Like no one's going to be going to the streets and trying to do whatever, firebomb shit, and take other people out and stuff. I mean, you know, out here it'd be like everybody's going to take care of each other, right? You're going to take care of your neighbor. Like if you have, you know, extra bottle or water or whatever, and your neighbor, you know, you're gonna look. You know, people are going to look out for each other, and that's what I like about living here too. Is that you know that everybody, you know, underneath it all, like people would give whatever they have, or at least trade it. And I tried to start a barter and trade site on Facebook a while back, and it didn't really take off. But I think if people would look more to doing that, I mean, I try to do that a lot of times. I'd much rather trade somebody. Yeah, like I'll trade you a table for this, that, the other thing. You know. Your whatever, your tractor or your you know, that old car.
But let me say that Cody that has like an older population. Yeah. Like 80% are older people. So it's like, I mean, what do they have to lose?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't know. I almost a couple of years ago, I almost moved to Los Angeles. Then there's a lot of uptick. There's a lot of good to that, and then but you look at LA right now and everything, and I mean, look at the homeless and and the one good thing was they said that everybody who's homeless out there has to be offered a residence. I think it's coming up shortly, so they're trying to get people off the streets, and there's a lot of people on the streets that just want to be on the streets. You get a lot of mentally ill people. Yeah, you know. And you're going to have that, but I mean, you can't say that all of them are. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't have it. I mean, you think about it. I mean, some people like a medical crisis, like what you went through.
Oh my gosh!
Some people that would have put them on the street. Yeah, and I know a lot of people like that I met over the years on the street, and it was just a matter of, my wife got cancer, and we went medically bankrupt and lost the house, and here I am. Yeah, and they're on the street. Nobody gives a shit about them. But yet we can spend trillions and billions and trillions and whatever, Joe Biden, millions and billions and quadrillions on these wars.
Yeah.
Where we send our young people to die and then to kill brown people that they don't know. Let's go bomb these people, for what? George Bush's oil war? It's so ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
That's why my whole philosophy on politics and all of it is like, walk away.
Yeah.
I put that on a lot of my stuff. Just hashtag walk away. If we were all just walk away from it and just not even just like treat it like a petulant child, just be like, nope, we're done with you.
I agree 1,000% with that.
I mean,
it's like,
there's not really much of a chance of that happening because people are so wrapped up in their partisan politics and their.
No, but it's like here in Cody, it's like, what difference is a small town of 10,000 people gonna make? It's like nothing.
Yeah. I mean, if you just decided, guess what? We're not voting. We're just not partaking. We're done. We're done with their money system. We're going back to gold. We're gonna do trade and barter. Done drinking your milk.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all just it's all tragically hilarious, really. I think that's why the Greek and Roman writers of back in the day that they had all the comedies and the tragedies, because that's kind of what life is it's a comedy and a tragedy all in one. And
it can turn like that, and you don't even know about it.
It can. Yeah, like I was saying, like.
Let me say, with me, it was like all comedy, and then like that, it turned into a tragedy.
Yeah,
it's like
you're like everything changes.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that you have to embrace those things too, and I've learned to do that as well. Is like when things go south, I've kind of learned to just take it, deal with it, but like accept it, use it, understand it, and then by doing so, not feeling sorry for yourself, you come back, but you're going to fall down again.
Yeah.
You're going to fail. That's life. You succeed because you fail.
And I agree. I mean,
you can't walk through life and be a complete success.
No.
Or you're mediocre.
Yeah.
And you haven't really lived because you haven't taken that. You haven't fallen. It's the weird. Like I said, it's a weird tragedy of human life, I guess.
No, but it's the truth. I mean, it's like even people who don't want to accept it. It's like you're gonna go through that.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how big you are. I mean, look at a guy like Mike Tyson. How many he made like $330 million or something in his fighting career? I mean, I think he went into prison like 30 million down.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's shed that ego. I don't know if you've ever watched any of his shows, but he's a totally different man. He did DMT, so he went out into that other world, and he kind of shed his ego. And I mean, he can still fight, but he's a totally different guy. And it's interesting to see cats do that. And I mean, it happens to a lot of athletes and stuff. They make all these hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hey, it happened to me, and I mean, I wasn't making $100 million.
But you were still doing better than most of the most people. I mean, you were at that pay rate. I mean,
and then from having a team of like 6 people listening to me, it's like all of that gone.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it can all change and be taken away from you. So I don't know. I guess you got to live your life with a sense of gratitude.
For sure.
And you got to be compassionate. I think I get myself into trouble with it all the time for helping people.
Yeah. And
everybody's like, just quit helping people. And it's like, if somebody needs it, I'm probably going to help them out.
Yeah.
I mean, it usually bites me in the ass. Sometimes it doesn't. But, I mean, guess what? Who cares? You live your life knowing that you did your best to be compassionate towards people. I mean, really, that's all we got. We got such a short-lived time here on this planet.
Yeah.
Why be a Grinch? Because you're gonna die. I mean, when you go out of here, you're gonna be like, oh shit.
No, it's just funny that I don't want my legacy to be like I was a Grinch. No, I want my legacy to be like different than that.
Right. Yeah. Like this was a good man. He cared about people. He was a good father. Yeah. I mean, I mean, like, that's what I was saying at the end of the thing, when we're on our deathbed, if we make it that far to the bed or whatever, I mean, that's what you have is the people you love and the people that love you. And it's a sad state of affairs when somebody, you know, if you got to go away and you got nobody standing there holding your hand, and you know, standing there by you when you go out, because we all got it coming.
Yeah.
And so the idea is sitting there and trying to accrue all this wealth and be this, that, and the other thing, and you know, all this phony shit.
Yes.
These Instagrammers and all this, you know, posting, you know, wearing, you know, $10,000 watches and driving in these fancy cars and you know, living a life of bullshit. They're not really living. They're just it's fake.
Yeah.
You know, it all might be fake.
I agree.
We might be in a simulation. There's something to contemplate.
That's the case, but
I don't know. It could be. Elon Musk, you know, he's probably the smartest man on the planet.
Yeah.
He said he thinks that it's a 1 in a million chance that we aren't actually living in a simulation. And for him to say that, you kind of, I mean, it's like, okay, well, whew, all right. I don't know. Who knows? No, it's fine. I don't know. I'd say we should just wrap her up.
Really?
Yeah, we've been going for a while. We've been going for an hour. Yeah, we might as well. We're going to do it again Friday night.
Yeah.
Tune in Friday night. My brother's going to be here in town, and we're going to sit down with him, have a conversation. We'll do it again. If you enjoy what you've seen, hit the like button, subscribe. I will have merch coming out soon. We'll be doing t-shirts, hats, things of that nature. So y'all stay up, take care of each other. Love you. Peace out.
See ya, guys.